Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Zimbabwe is a failed state. I've said this many times on this platform because it is true. How did we come to this? In 1980, when the country gained its independence, a Japanese scholar and writer, Ken Yamamoto, said on a number of occasions in his articles that Zimbabwe had the potential to become the South Korea of Africa. Prosperous, where everybody is free, enjoying freedom and prosperity. At the time, Zimbabwe was the breadbasket of Africa, of the region. We had the resources, the manpower, and the economic infrastructure was promising, was good, was healthy. Second to South Africa and sub-Saharan Africa. And yet, in the last 45 years, the country has been going down the tube. We've become the North Korea of Africa. I think millions of Zimbabweans out there are looking lost and in despair, and for good reason. The country is lost. One half of our people are being forced to believe in Vision 2030. But I think even the most naive among them, deep down inside, know that Vision 2030 is a mirage. The man who is promising them has delivered suffering for the last 45 years. Mnangagwa wants to pretend that he had nothing to do with Mugabe and the so-called First Republic. This is just utter nonsense. He was the man who rigged the elections, created a de facto one-party state, and kept Mugabe in power. Mnangagwa was behind the infamous Kukurawundi. Where over 20,000 innocent Zimbabweans were murdered in cold blood to create the platform to create the de facto one-party state. Mnangagwa was the man behind the 2008 electoral coup. He orchestrated it. And what he did during that runoff clearly earned him a place at Chikurubi. He didn't go to Chikurubi. We know he stayed in power and went on to orchestrate the 2017 military coup. And now he is state president. How anyone can expect such a ruthless tyrant to deliver economic prosperity beggars belief. Here he is boasting about his role in the 2008 electoral coup.
2008 patakaita ma-elections pakaposa papinda Tsvangirai ndandiri election agent ya president. Ma-results abuda tiri party headquarters vamutasa vanga vari secretary vedu ve-administration vamutasa muripi ndafona ndiri kwarusapi komo kuenda kwarusapi seka ma-results achibuda kudai vanga aiwa zvako izvo munangagwande zvako endaenda kumusha ofisi vanga vabisa zvinhu zvavo zvose watofunga kuti zani yadini yaparara. President ofona zvakamira sei kati ndomamira zvakaita takatodini katida sei manje mama ndikati abvudzai baba nditaure navo baba gadzirai politburo cabinet musarangarira zvimwe zvinhu gadzirai chi cabinet asi nangoda kuti muzive kuti 2008 ma-results abuda vamutasa vakatiza.
As a country we face a generational transition. Vana vesa vari kuma below 35 they are crying out for help. The country is in a mess. Arusurufaro. We know we are inheriting a mess. We know this country has been left with nothing.
I'm assuring you that starting from tomorrow, you'll see a different nation from what you have seen or read on the news about these results and everything. Where we are going ahead there, the situation will be very different. What we said to our people, they could not see with their own eyes. We are going to act as we see it fit. We are prepared to go the whole distance.
It was tragic, but credit where credit is due. SADC forced Zanu PF to sign the Global Political Agreement of 2008. And that gave the opportunity to the nation to implement the democratic reforms which would have ended the Zanu PF dictatorship. Unfortunately, not even one token reform was implemented. So one half of our people believe or want to believe in this Vision 2030 mirage, and the other half believe in Chamisa winning the elections, winning big, because I have plugged all the vote-rigging loopholes. What is disappointing about that is this is not the first time they've been conned. In 2018, Chamisa conned them, millions of them, to participate in flawed elections, telling them that MDC alliance had stringent measures to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections. The people believed it. This hasn't helped at all. This has only meant the nation going round and round in circles. The truth of the matter is, MDC leaders failed to implement even one token reform during the GNU because Mugabe bribed them with the trappings of high office, and they forgot about the reforms. And ever since the GNU debacle, they've participated in flawed elections, knowing fully well that Zanu PF was rigging, knowing fully well that by participating, they will only be giving Zanu PF legitimacy. They've done it out of greed. The people themselves are to blame in the sense that they've been warned that participating in these flawed elections will only give Zanu PF legitimacy. And why they keep on believing Chamisa's lies. Make us believe. But that is exactly what they've done. Ever since the 2023 elections, the debate has been raging on whether or not Chamisa lied to the people about plugging the vote rigging loopholes. Hashtag God is in it. One would think by now this will be settled. Unfortunately, it's not. There are still hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Zimbabweans out there who would readily believe another one of Chamisa's lies to con them to participate in 2028 elections, only to give Zanu PF legitimacy and perpetuate the dictatorship. Here is Chamisa, just a few days before the voting was done, assuring the people of Zimbabwe that he was winning the 2023 elections.
Makorokoto Zimbabwe nokuti hakuna munhu anomira kana denga raronga plan. Denga raronga plan, denga harifoiri. Plan yaMwari haifoiri. Ini ndatanga kugadzira cabinet. There is no way we are not going to form a new cabinet. There is no way we are not going to have a celebration. There is no way we are not going to have an inauguration. Let's start preparing for our inauguration. Let's start preparing for our celebration.
Of course, the truth of the matter is Chamisa was lying. And so now we have got millions of people living in abject poverty because he conned them to participate in a flawed elections which only gave Zanu PF legitimacy and perpetuate their suffering. But as we look into the future, I think it is being honest to say millions more will be conned to participate in 2028. Zimbabweans, we are our own worst enemy. People get the government they deserve. We cannot pretend that we do not deserve this Zanu PF dictatorship that has now lasted 45 years, complete with its MDC CCC sidekick. MDC-CCC have failed to implement even one token reform in 25 years. Anyone who was following and paying attention would have known by now that the people have been voting for MDC-CCC to implement the reforms. And Zanu PF is only able to rig the elections and get away with it because MDC-CCC guys have failed to implement reforms. Why the penny is not dropped? It's because people are not making any effort. There was a time when the people of Zimbabwe were self-confident and looked in the future with pride. I think today we are looking down the depths of our own man-made hell on earth. How the mighty have fallen. Or as one would say in Shona, Zimbabwe is a failed state because we have failed to hold free, fair, and credible elections. We've allowed Zanu PF to rig the elections. And in the late 1990s, when we risked everything to elect the opposition on the promise that they will implement the reforms to stop Zanu PF rigging the elections, we've not been paying attention to what the opposition have been doing. And ever since the GNU, at least, the opposition have been Zanu PF Team B in all but name, playing for Team A to win and for Team A to have legitimacy. And it is for that reason why people now look into the future in despair. We can end all this. If people refuse to be conned to participate in 2028 elections, Zanu PF will not get legitimacy. SADC and the AU condemned the 2023 elections. But they could not deny Zanu PF legitimacy because millions of Zimbabweans, nearly 2 million of the Chamisa Chete brigade participated in those flawed elections because they believed Chamisa. We need to open our eyes and our minds. The future is grim for millions of ordinary Zimbabweans, but it's only because we've chosen it to be so. Think about it. Thank you, and have a good night.